So good at this.
Yeah.
Brant Bjork, thank you so much for taking some time to chat today. Uh, this weekend, yeah,
Yep.
is the Live in the Mojave stream is kind of the official unveiling of Stoner for anyone who is not, and congratulations on the band name. For anyone who is not yet sort of aware of the project, what is Stoner?
Stoner is a band that I put together with Nick Oliveri and my solo band drummer, Ryan Goot. And we're just a rockin' trio. And it's basically kind of a return to roots, you know. It's a musical and conceptual no-brainer.
Okay, so is that kind of the is that the mission statement? Is no brainer?
I think if I had to sum up the mission statement in a little, as in as few words as possible, a la Muhammad Ali, I would have to say no brainer.
No brainer. That's
Is
cool.
that That's the mission statement of Stoner? Yeah.
Um, what's the sort of? I mean, I've been fortunate enough to hear a couple demos, what have you. What's the and there was multiple vibes going on, right? There was kind of a straight up rockin' vibe. There was punkier stuff, and there was a jam that
Hmm.
that I heard. What's the sort of breakdown of what you guys are writing? Who's bringing what? How is it all kind of coming together?
Well, we put the band together quickly, and we put some. I'd already had some songs, and I was already feeling this kind of inspiration to like, as I said, a return to the root. And then after I'd already kind of demoed some ideas, that's when it dawned on me, like, you know what, this I'm just going to put together a band and like have fun, you know, and a band also that could operate during these times of shutdown, you know, a band that's local here
Mhm.
in the desert where I live. And then so, you know, hence the term no brainer. It's like, I'm just going to call Nick. He's in Joshua Tree now, and my drummer's up in Northern California, but comes down often. And I just, you know, called him up and said, hey, I got these songs. I got an idea. What if we put a band together? And what if we just rock and rolled and had some fun? And they were like, of course, totally. Let's do it. And within, from that phone call to the moment we were recording music, it was all in about 2 weeks time. Well, 2 weeks time from the minute we got together and started playing music. So from the minute we got in the studio and started working out arrangements and just jamming, it took about 2 weeks before we were recording. So the recording and the songs represent moving quick and not thinking too much, you know, and not second guessing what was coming out. The chemistry of this band is really natural, and so we just kind of capitalize on that in terms of output. Like, let's just rock, you know, and not go back and try and manipulate it or overthink it. You know, it's just what it is what it is, and it represents our collective influences, especially with Nick and I. You know, and we grew up with the same kind of music. You know, I mean, that's why Nick and I became friends when we were kids. You know, I mean, Nick and I were playing Ramones covers in his parents' living room when I was 14. You know, so it's just a return to that. You know, like a return to like playing music before there was any kind of reward other than just doing it. You know.
When did that happen? What was the timing on that call and kind of getting to
Um,
Nick and Ryan?
I think I called Nick and Goot probably early September.
Okay.
Yeah,
Quick,
early mid
quick.
early mid September. Yeah,
And when did you record the Mojave thing?
we recorded the studio version the night before we recorded the live performance, which would have been like October 12th or something. So by the time they got the call, I think 2 weeks later, we got together at my studio, maybe 3. So like late September, we were actually coming together. And then we literally, Ryan and I worked out a little bit, and then Nick came in. And I think with Nick as the full unit, we jammed 8 times before we recorded.
Okay.
So it's a big ball of potential, you know, it's in terms of creativity, but the fun was there immediately. So when I listened to this, to the performance and our studio stuff, it's like, it's exciting, but I'm also clearly listening to a band that just started shooting from the hip, man. Let's just go for it. So
Do you consider, do you consider it to be kind of a pandemic project then? Right? I mean, considering maybe not like just maybe not limited to the pandemic, but was there, other than the practicality of getting out on the road and doing a tour that's not happening, was there something about the sort of enforced sitting on ass last year that kind of made you want to go back to the start of your own influences?
I think the most honest answer for that question is yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think years from now, when we look back, regardless of where the band goes or what it becomes, when asked the question of, you know, what were the origins of this band, it'll be like, well, yeah, pandemic. And the pandemic meant many things for many people, and for me as a musician and as an artist. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not a big social guy anyway. So quarantine was. I mean, I'm kind of quarantined, self-quarantined all the time. So, but it did kind of inspire me to, as I said, not so much look to the future, and not in a gloomy or negative way, but not look towards the future, but kind of look towards the past. Mm-hmm. And kind of say, hey, you know, I just want to play music and have some fun, you know. Right. And that's what this was born from, you know.
I would think that has to be kind of almost liberating to do that. I mean, there's, you know, thinking about sort of the last year and all the just ambient anxiety around, to kind of find a space where you can make things simple.
100%. It was very liberating. And I think when you've been an artist as long as I have, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, rock and roll is, you don't think, yes, the Rolling Stones are still selling out concerts and everything, but you don't really think about rock and roll being this, it's a young man's blues. It's a young man's art form, you know. I'm going to be 48 on Friday, and it's like, you know, I've had the luck and the fortunate, you know, ability to maintain a career in rock and roll for all these years. But there was something about just this last year being able to, you kind of come full circle. You know, it's kind of like the challenge now is to go back to the original intention. That's more challenging artistically than pushing forward and trying to like create something fresh and all this thing. And like, you know, I think every artist must come to this at some point if you do your art long enough, which is, you know, I think the analogy I used the other day was like a master chef, a chef, not to suggest I'm a master, but a qualified, accomplished chef at some point is like, you know, I'm just going to go back and try and make the most badass grilled cheese sandwich ever, you know, and some badass French fries, you know, and that's kind of what this is for me, you know, and it's not easy, you know, it's fun. That's what makes it fun. It's a challenge to go back. And that's what I did in, you know, with the pandemic. I found myself going back to, I'm skateboarding again with my kids. You know, I'm building BMX bikes again. I'm doing all these things that I didn't have time to do, and I'm like kind of a kid again. And it's a strange blessing, you know. And so yeah, Stoner's part of that, you know, for sure.
Hmm. And okay, so tell me about doing live in the Mojave. Tell me about going out and how long is the set? How many songs do you guys actually play? How many
I think
songs do you have?
I think it's just you know, it's a wham bam, and I think we blow through it in probably 42, 43 minutes. I don't know the exact time.
Okay.
It's like seven songs,
No,
and
it's enough for a live LP. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that was the intention in the agreement, and of course, you know, being a stream, you know, the whole stream thing is completely new to me.
I think it's
I
a lot of people. I don't think
Yeah, I
really.
don't know. I didn't know anything about it, and I know that last you know, once it was official that we were going to cancel Stoned and Dusted, um, Ryan Jones, um, our partner with myself and Mario Lally, he quickly wanted to kind of conceptualize something new to kind of take the place of Stoned and Dusted, which I'm sure lots of promoters are and
There's a
event
lot of pivoting.
a
Yeah.
lot of pivoting, and a lot of trial and error, and so he came up with that couch lock concept, which we all. And I remember when he approached me with that, he's like, "Hey, we're going to do this couch lock thing, and you will have, you know, I don't have back, my band can't get here because of the quarantine." I said, "I'll play acoustic." Yawning Man had already filmed, did a beautiful film of them out in the desert, and so he quickly put this thing together. But I mean, to be honest, at the time, I didn't know how it was going to work. I said, "Listen, I don't know how this works. I don't know what you're going to do." But he, at that point, was still my manager of 5 years, and I did what any artist does: say, "All right, look, I trust you. If this makes sense and it's it's going to work, fantastic. It's an opportunity for me to get out there and connect with my fans." And it did. It did to an extent. It did work. Um, I watched it and I was like, wow, this is really trippy, but I got to be honest, I am kind of entertained right now. This is for, for like an hour or two. I feel like there's a channel that is playing, this trip, and it's enjoyable.
Right.
Um, and then not long after that, let's see, that would have been May of 20. By the middle of that summer, he called me with this idea for Live in Mojave. And it was immediately clear that he wanted to kind of take what Yawning Man had did and expand on it. And Yawning Man and Ryan didn't have a positive experience with Couch Lock. And so therefore they weren't going to be part of this Mojave thing. Even though Mario is one of my dearest friends and we're partners with the Stone and Dusted, I understand that things don't always work out perfectly. And if it's not my business, I stay out of it. So, but to be honest, I was a little curious, like, oh, I wonder what happened there. But anyways, it doesn't matter. We're moving forward now. It's Live in Mojave. And obviously being the musician that I am, I want to try and connect with my fans, especially during this shutdown. And the concept was pretty basic. We're going to go out to the desert and film a live set, and stream the live set, same as what was done on Couch Lock. But then in addition, he wanted to record the live set and then press up on vinyl and digital download the audio. And as he was pitching this concept to me in the middle of probably August, I was like, wow, okay, this is ambitious, but exciting, for multiple reasons. Especially as I said, because it's an opportunity for me to be creative and be active during the shutdown. And of course, there was urgency because Ryan Jones wanted to move quickly on the timeline and the urgency of the situation and the desperation, if you will, of people needing and wanting both artists and fans and everyone in the industry. So it was kind of like, this train's leaving the station. and it's going to be pretty awesome. So but you got to kind of jump on board now. And I'll tell you more about where it's going when we're en route. So I was like, okay, well, let's go. Let's go on an adventure and see where this train ends up. So anyways, that was the beginning of Mojave. And I, of course said, as I said, let's do this. Let's get involved. Yeah.
How was your experience actually going out there and doing that? I watched the last stream, and in the couch lock interview beforehand, the dude from Mountain Tamer was talking about how he can't see because of the sun glaring in his face and stuff like that. What was your experience like out there actually doing the thing?
For me, it was fantastic. I mean, I loved it from the minute we got there to the minute we packed up and left. It was all that I could have hoped for. The location was great. The production was solid. The sound was good. The intention behind everyone there working was really unified, and it was a really cool rock and roll co-op. And of course, and I think I could speak for Nick. I mean, we grew up playing out in the middle of the desert, so we felt right at home. In fact, a little spoiled. You have like PA and like monitors and stuff.
Professional equipment around. Yes.
Yeah. So for us, it was like the ultimate,
Right.
desert show. And there was something even extra. With all respect, there was something even extra exciting about it, that there wasn't an audience there. Which made it all the more of an experience of being fully just engaged with the element. Like we're not actually having to interact and connect with this audience. We're literally entertaining the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. And the volume, just to crank up your volume and play loud, which is hard to do, believe it or not, for rockers these days. It's not uncommon to play venues now where, you got to put a decibel limit on what you're doing, so it felt good to like just turn up and rock, man. So the actual experience itself was fantastic.
It's great. And I mean, in terms of how you're unveiling a new band, I mean, that to have that as your first show has to be something.
Totally. I couldn't have asked for a better launch pad for this band than being out there in the desert and rocking. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
What is sort of the plan with Stoner? Are you guys going to get in the studio?
Well, interestingly enough, the night, as I said earlier, the night before we filmed our performance for the Mojave event, we recorded, we kind of ran through our set and recorded it in my studio in Joshua Tree.
Oh.
And part of that was for documentation, part of it was for experimentation, part of it was for, you never know, maybe we could do something with this in the future. And to be perfectly honest, part of it was our attempt at saying something, I don't know, thing's moving so fast and I don't know what it is. Maybe we should record our band ourselves as well. Mm-hmm. So I just got sent some mixes about an hour before we got on here today, and they sound solid. And we're in discussions with Gabe over at Heavy Psych, who's obviously our label, partner for a while here. And I think we're gonna, nothing's official, but it's looking likely that we're gonna release that studio record very soon. And we have new music that we're already fleshing out as well. So Stoners, we're in a position of proactivity. We're moving fast.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, between you and Nick both working with Heavy Psych Sounds, not necessarily such a surprise that would be where Stoner would land, but I think it makes sense. Yeah.
No brainer.
Right. Exactly. No brainer. Very good. and tour booking. That's nice to hear as well.
Yeah.
Uh, what about you did the self-titled record, the self-titled Brant Bjork record. Are you sort of pursuing any other solo-ish stuff as well, or is it just sort of
Yeah, I am. In fact, I've already signed a new deal with Gabe to do another solo record. I'll be pursuing that in, in the next couple weeks as well. So, well, next couple weeks I'll be working on demos and stuff. But Stoner is going to be the priority for this year. But yeah, I'll be doing a new solo record, and I'm excited about that as well. Yeah.
cool? One thing I kind of wanted to ask, and this is maybe a little bit more for my own curiosity, is Nick was with Vistacino for a while, and then you brought in Mike Dean, and that was a whole separate bag of awesome. But can how does you've worked with Nick off and on for decades, right? How does it feel to sort of be embarking on something else with him now, as opposed to like Vistacino or Caius Lives, as it were, or even in Caius?
It feels great. It really does. Nick and I were jamming together before we even started Cats and Jammer, which became Caius. I grew up with Nick. We've known each other since we were 12, 13 years old. And it's we have a special bond. We're really close, and we share a love of music, and we share a love of a lot of the same kind of music, and and um, and we play music for the same reasons. Um, and it feels good to just have like Stone is a perfect band for us, and I feel like it's the reward for being musical, and being friends that grew up together in our hometown of Palm Desert, and music like kind of saved our lives, man. It was what gave us meaning. It's what gave us the idea that we could be somebody and do something. And and to be doing it together now, um, it's great, and it's funny because like I said, I told Nick, hey, listen, man, let's there's no you know how I play, I know how you play. Let's just play. Let's go back to the fucking, the original vibe, man, where we just didn't give a fuck, dude. It wasn't about, we didn't have fans, we didn't have money, we didn't have stages, we didn't have PAs, we didn't have anything. We just had our love of rock and roll, and we just wanted to just rock. And I think it was our second or jam. I think after our second jam rehearsal, he just was leaving, and he just goes, "Fuck, man, if we're gonna take this back, we might as well just call it Stoner." I was all, there you go. I'm not gonna argue with that, dude. And it was a no-brainer. It was like we didn't even have to think about it. It was just like perfect.
Really sums it up. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it does. All right, I'm gonna let you go. And
Okay. Thanks.
let me stop the recording. So I know. So, all right,
Great.
Brant Bjork, thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you.